Okay, so Richard Hart's extremely rich, right?
Yeah.
Yep. He's got all the supercars. He's had all the women. He's done all the things that a rich guy wants to do. Do you think he's trying to get richer, or do you think that he is a very competitive bloke now trying to knock Vitalik off his throne and take over as the, I guess, if not the number one, or one of the higher performing, higher economic throughput blockchains in the space? Would you say that's probably a fair assessment?
Yeah, he wants to declare victory and then build a penis-themed museum featuring himself.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy. Now, if in doing so, his project is Pulsechain to do that, then wouldn't you think that he'd have plenty of cards left up his sleeve and a lot of stuff that he has not played out yet to to push this thing further?
Oh, sure. I'm bullish on the Pulsechain as a whole. Like he has. Is he an absentee founder at the moment? Yeah. But like even this SEC thing, I don't know if you guys are keeping up on that, but like if he wins that court case, like stuff's going to go up. Like, is he going to buy more Pulsechain? Yes, he's totally going to like buy up the price of his tokens, like Pulse, Pulsex, Hex on the Pulsechain. And that's going to drive everything else up because the liquidity is pretty much bonded to all those things in one way or another. All that kind of stuff, right? So, will he come through in the end? I suspect so. Part of his game that I don't like at all is he shakes out the weak hands by letting the thing pretty much fall apart. And then, when you have less people holding and they're stronger holders, then when you put money in, then they don't dump it, which is what we've seen in the past couple months where he's, like you can tell it's the Sacrafice wallet, has gone in and inserted, millions of dollars, not a big amount to him, but to us.
Value, and then use that to help back.
But it gets dumped immediately, right? So he's come on, he's bought Ink token, and he buys Pulsex, and he buys Pulse or maybe Hex, but then it gets dumped by the community. Like they're like, oh, the price went up by 30% because Richard is buying. We all have alerts set, like all the pro guys. They're like, oh, the Sac wallet just moved 400 grand. Okay, where's it going? It's going to Hex this time, guys. Okay, get ready. Right, buy Hex before he comes on, and then dump it as soon as he pumps the price by 30%. And until that stops happening, he won't move real money being billions onto the chain. It's got to be a point where people are like, oh, the price just went up by 20%, and it only dumps by 5% because people are optimistic. When people are still just trying to get out, he's not going to dump billions like the whole Sac wallet on the chain because we'd all just cash out. Right.
And just to confirm, you're not Eric Wall on a mysterious alt account, right?
No, not at all. Yeah, you can. I have multiple video appearances. I'm way tougher than Eric Wall. He's a pretty smart guy though.
Nice.
I'm in a couple private rooms with him. But yeah, you guys keep fighting the good fight, eh? It was. Thanks for the chat. It was interesting.
I know of many projects, if any, that have just adopted Pulsechain as one of their options and gone, yep, we also do Pulsechain. Which is a wasted opportunity because I thought that was part of the point of copying ETH was to be an attractive prospect for making it cheaper to run these businesses on another blockchain.
Yeah, I think the way the AMM bots worked when it basically went out and bought up all the tokens, it kind of ripped those guys off. So in for something like a meme coin, it maybe kind of worked, but let's say you're running some sort of DeFi protocol with moving parts that requires management, and your liquidity pools got copied, right? Like you had, 100 ETH paired with 100,000 of your tokens, and then Richard comes in, runs his bot, copies your stuff, and then replaces your ETH with Pulse, right, at $1 million per, and then is capable of dumping that entire pool and pulling it to Pulsex under his control. Those copied pools on Pulsex aren't under control of the original owner, right? So it's
and he also changed the values because now that they seem to be equal.
Yeah. So it just wasn't that good.
He only inflated the stable coins and he only inflated ETH. It doesn't seem like he inflated Link and all the other copies. They're not inflated. But for whatever reason, he inflated the stables and he inflated. Of course, he inflated Ethereum. But it was mainly why only the stable? Why weren't those inflated? Why just the stables and ETH? I know ETH. I know why, but why the stables then? If it could be such a detriment.
Stables weren't inflated in particular. They just had really big liquidity pools that got copied. Right?
No, there was the 22 billion that he had. It was all the stables were inflated to a certain amount, and then the other copies weren't inflated. Yeah.
Me and the rest of the guys were dumping those like we're dumping everything else. And there's lots of arbitrage that went on with those copied stables because there's a lot of things to be like whatever the copied link token, which held some value, other things. You could arbitrage that off a Uniswap fork using copied USDC and make money on dumping it on Pulsex, right? And there's still that goes on every day.
Oh yeah, I mean it's done ever since the bottom. It's done like another 20,000 eggs. So to where we're at almost to a penny now. So
until fresh capital comes into Pulsechain, the bro here has got a point. Money just doesn't get created out of thin air with arbitrage. The money, basically, whenever money transfers from one place to another, someone is losing money or someone is paying a fee. We need more people on board here, more businesses building to get this to actually happen.
And stuff like PDAI is a benefit in just like the whole PDAI Atropa thing, because it is pushing the price up, which means that people from Ethereum now have a larger value incentive to come here. Now, of course, they're coming here and dumping on your guys' heads. They may choose to stick around, though. They're probably not for PDAI, but they're going to stick around for something. So, yeah, if some guy's got $10,000 because you guys pumped up PDAI, he comes over and starts buying whatever DeFi products that he likes on the Pulse chain, maybe he'll stay. And that was the original intent with the copies theme, right? That didn't work, honestly. Like it failed as an advertising thing, but it was a pretty cool idea, and I had a lot of fun with it. I still have fun with it.
Yep.
So a part of the money he's already used for all the ETH holdings.
He's literally collateralized the vault totally full. So he wants to leave it there because it's literally sitting at $1 billion. So he's like, you know what? Let me go grab some more of my cash. So he went and he grabbed and moved $60 million off chain. That it was just literally total value locked. He moved that off chain and has brought it over to continue to trade and continue to start, probably actually using leverage and start building up those funds again to where and waiting for those debt ceilings to rise again. Because right now he's pretty much he's got Morph Labs completely knocked up. They're at $1 billion. They can't raise their debt ceiling yet. The same thing with MakerDAO. Theirs is 2.5. If you think about it, if he has 800 million and he can leverage 20x, but he can only go up to 2.5 billion. 3x leverage, and then he's there. So now what did they vote in? They voted in to bring in USDC, USDT, and XDAI at 10, 20. And 5 million, which will also be voted in, just as the other ones were every 20, sometimes within an hour. Like this one came in as soon as that 60 million was coming over, and I saw that, I walked over, and literally an hour later, when they put the proposal in, they said within 48 hours we're going to see if this vote's going to go through. 1 hour later, the vote went through that they were going to start using XDAI from Gnosis, and then they're going to use USDC and USDT starting at these 10 million, 15 million, and $5 million levels, which would explain the 5 million, the 60 million, because then he can leave everything either in the collateral, and then he can hold the rest of the stuff in SDAI, and then he can just swap all this into SDAI, right? So then he has 260 million, which is a little excessive, but she could spread that out against different chains in different areas, and seemingly still have enough to keep working his way around, because I'm sure that when the vote happens for them to collateralize, it's not just on one chain or one thing. It seems to pass on multiple chains, multiple levels, to a certain extent. So
I have two more questions trying to follow up on this one. So another one is that, so technically he's leveraging on his DAI and he bought ETH. So if his ETH price continues to go down, then he has to bring back the DAI to, well, he's going to have a loss, right?
He can hold the DAI. No, because he can hold the DAI and he's been making money. He made 200 and something million at least so far that I've tracked, but I'm sure he's made actually more than that. So and you have to remember that ETH as that ETH goes down, as long as he's still holding the SDAI, he's actually staying in profit, because as the ETH goes down, theoretically, right, since he's still holding the stable on the other end of it, he's actually still making out because he's getting paid interest on both ends. So even if ETH would have to drop another 20% down, right, for him to actually start really, really hurting, or for it to really be a problem or a collateralization issue. Right.
Why do you think he bought ETH though at those prices? That doesn't make any sense though. Even through this whole narrative,
he did it prematurely.
because everyone else was doing it, and he thought that that was the rules. He thought that he could get the airdrop by buying with DAI. Like 20 minutes later, they changed the rules on him, and they said, no, you cannot buy DAI to get SDAI. And at that point, he had to sit on his hands and set on SDAI, right? And that was no choice. And then he waited.
Say that again. I like this. So say that again. So why did he start buying, and what happened?
Well, because everyone started FOMOing in, right? There was other people and other big whales like Rune that all FOMOed in with big buys. And he did not, he wanted to get the airdrop, right? And he did not know, because the rules were not laid out properly until after. Once they told him that, he literally went and bought the ETH, not out of FOMO, but just, I mean, at that point, he was almost doing them a favor of pumping their, like literally pumping their chain. You know, he could have sat on what he was sitting on, but it would have made no sense, because at that point, by getting the ETH the way that it was getting him more SDAI at the time, right? So it's just, he bought it prematurely, I think, or by him buying the ETH or swapping the ETH into the SDAI, he actually got more SDAI at that time, because ETH eventually dropped a little bit, so I mean dropped down to like 3,700, so he still got more SDAI at the time, and then ETH still fell. But yeah, at that time I believe that he jumped prematurely because the rules were not laid out properly. Within 15-20 minutes they said, I mean, he was still on the leaderboard at the time, and then like within 15-20 minutes they said, no, you have to use wrap stake ETH or this and that to be on the leaderboard. And that's whenever I believe that he was taken off the leaderboard. And then at that point he was like, okay, well, what do I hold this? And then he thought, maybe, let me catch the ride, let me see if I can catch the ride with it, and he didn't throw all 400 million in. He only threw the 200 million in and left the other 200 million in SDAI. And so it was still split 50-50 at that point. You know what I mean? He was still sitting, and that's whenever people didn't understand. They thought he threw it all in because they couldn't see the SDAI still sitting in his wallet, right? So he did that just in case, hey, it goes up, or if it goes down, at least at this point, I'm getting more of, getting more ETH, or getting more SDAI at the time whenever I'm ready to swap back out, or I'm getting, if I'm able to catch a little bit of a pump, which he did catch a little bit of a pump. I didn't watch any more of the action after that. I don't think he sold anything, and he held it all, and he just waited, and then until it was time, and then everything, then at that point, the bots were being active and moving things to different chains, and everything has come to fruition.
So the ETH that he has, the ETH, the amount of, I didn't do the math, so the amount of ETH he has, is it only $200 million worth?
Oh, no. It's right now, it's at least 460 million, and another 100, like the 138 that went to Binance, and then the 74 million that is sitting on Gnosis. Hasn't moved yet. And then he took 60 million over. So it's at least 460 million ETH, at least. But I think it's more because the vault is sitting there full with $1 billion. I'm sure there are him and maybe MakerDAO itself maybe utilizing this structure at the moment. Spark is not, but I believe it's not, not only him, but they kind of know that he's got to get this done by a certain time. It was, this was seemingly not necessarily his plan, but the bots are they're acting a certain way. This is the time to do it. It's just,
gotcha.
It's, and you know what I mean? Like he's got court, and he's got court in November. So my thing is, everything's gonna be done by November. He's gonna walk into court and be like, "What scam?"
So now I know that part. Now the next part is the part that you were talking about in the beginning of arbing between the liquidity pools to bring it.
Oh yeah. See, and that
can you elaborate on that a little bit again?
Yeah. That's something that Spark itself offers, right? So Spark Finance offers these 4 different types of VA lab testing, VA labs, something like that, some kind of bot analysis, lab testing kind of thing. But it's just that alone, right? So he's able to utilize this structure that they've laid out, to where he's able to go in and pretty much trade on the pairs. And then I believe this is speculation about how he's doing this. I mean, it could be many different ways, right? It could be him literally taking extra copies. Like, maybe, in my opinion, I think that he took multiple snapshots, and he has multiple copies of the copies that he has on his chain, right? He's got 3 copies of those copies, and now he could put those copies over here too, right? and then another over there. So then he has the stables that he just made, and that will create an automatic arbitration between those two chains and themselves, right? Because literally they'll have their copies that are low value paired with a dollar stablecoin, and then the bots, sitting on the Binance exchange and shit, are going to see that, which is why I believe he's sending money there, and they'll be popping right out of that Binance exchange to make that arb, and then go right back in. It's actually a quick arbitrage opportunity for Binance and for them to get their extra pairs. Why is that important? I think the extra pairs is like it's a insurance fund for Binance. Something happens to ETH or something happens to CZ, that they will still have copies within this if he's able to pull this off within this quote unquote privacy of EVM. If he pulls it off. But yeah, but there's other ways that he could do it. He could literally just create another pair of a token, and just literally, it's whitelisted. It seems like, it's just trading. It's just like, yeah. So it just seems like that since there's a whitelist within the protocol, it's just, and it's literally, there's like a looping system too. Like the way that Spark did it, it's very interesting, very unique. And it's just, it seems like a way to utilize the Arbots just like anyone else would utilize Arbots to take advantage of a trade. Right, because they only make profitable trades, and then utilizing them in such a way, and like not a safe environment, but they don't trade unless it's a profitable environment, but like in a way to where they're tested, it's true, and they're able to make money flow around and make ends meet, and then also front run the fiat acquisition that's going to eventually come. So that, which is what got us in the bind to begin with, was fiat coming in on the chain and adding debt with like USDT, right? At first, I didn't think he was going to have anything to do with USDT, but it seems like they're going to at least give them a shot, or maybe at least use that USDT as collateral, because they know it's actually not fractionalized, right? So the other USDT stuff, it seems like they stayed away from it, but this one, the one that he has from, or maybe it's the one, I don't know if it's one from there, or where it's actually come from. I have no idea, but I would assume it's going to be the ones that they've created over, that ones that are actually $1, right? Because that's the ones you want to arb with at the beginning, right? And then like MakerDAO itself has minted in literally less than a month 5 billion more DAI into existence, right? After burning 100 billion of it, right? They've minted new DAI, and I believe that 5 billion of that, 5 billion of USDE, which is from Athena, 5 billion of USDC, 5 billion of USDT, gets you to 20 billion on that backing of DAI, but that's just DAI, right? He still has to work on how long it might take to get all the way through. I think that's done by June, and then he still has a couple more months, or the other protocols have a couple more months to reach their own backing, because he's not necessarily in control, or have in my opinion, doesn't need to worry about what USDT does. It seems like if you have enough collateral for DAI, take care of DAI. That's what matters. As far as if the other ones get their collateral, great. If not, and in my opinion, it won't matter. But it seems like if they're able to continue to ramp things up over time, it's like a snowball effect, because they literally have yet to really reach higher levels. The bots seemingly have just started, and I mean, it was almost felt like it was like I held an AMA yesterday. Yeah, you know that. And then it was like we heard him tweet. That tweet shot everything to the moon. We freaked out. That what I believe is that Atropa is going to protect PDAI in a way that it's going to be hard to dump. And with 20 billion backing it, by then you are literally, since you think about it. So at 1 million in the 1 million was 137 million market cap, right, for PDAI. So it needs to get to 22 billion to technically reach parity. So it only needs less than $2 billion in liquidity, less than 1 billion in liquidity for it to technically pair. But he's going to put $20 billion in that motherfucker, right? If that's what it's, he's going to over collateralize it in anticipation of these guys coming in and dumping. And that's 20x over 20x over collateralized, which would be able to absorb it. But I also believe that the way that Atropa works, like whenever the bots themselves are protecting it to stay to the peg, or maybe even push it down, maybe even front run. Like if someone tries to buy at a certain amount of liquidity or whatever, it's going to push the price up, down, and then it's going to send them up the ladder. If you know how Atropa works, Atropa has this token called PDAI has Atropa and PDAI have a token called 2. 2 is 2x the price of PDAI. All right, and then on and up. Then there's another token It's not called 4, but it's like it's 2x the price or 8x the price of 2. And then there's another token on top of that that's 16x the price of that token, and then all the way up. So if you think about it like a waterfall, and you put a bot on each side, and you have the dollar, you have a hole in the middle or a waterfall in the middle, and that's the dollar peg is the waterfall. And then 89 cents is the end of not 80, 98 cents is this side of the waterfall, and then 102 is this side of the waterfall. So to keep it from technically being hurt or harnessed or attacked, because the things that why they get depegged, first off would be a flash loan, which we already know is a dumb idea, but maybe while it's on its way up there, they still try to attempt to do it just to try to say, fuck that,
Is on chain. A lot of the people in the community are looking for verbal answers from tweets from specific people, but some of the people in this group have taken it upon themselves to actually look on chain for answers. And what they're finding is that a lot of wallets that are prominent with the Sacrafice and with large DAOs and organizations that work closely with Ethereum are actually working together and doing strategic plays on the chain to actually move the values of certain copies to their original price that were on ETH. And so, this all started when people noticed that you were still able to mint DAI on the contract. So there was a mysterious $1 million transfer from one wallet that was associated with the Pulse sacrifices and to another wallet that was associated with the MakerDAO team. And after that $1 million transfer went over, the minting magically got disabled on the DAI contract from the Maker contract. I don't know exactly how it worked, but I'm pretty sure it was a function on Maker that allows you to buy it and mint DAI. So they disabled that. And then all of a sudden, we've been finding a bunch of crazy values,
Son of a beach.
and
I'm almost to
insane
the rig,
stuff
guys.
that's been, on
Guys,
chain,
I do want to say I appreciate
verifiable,
everyone coming and hanging out,
including the
and
7
listening,
wallets
but
that were
oil
sent
rig,
funds
I'm
from
telling
the
you,
Pulse
it's a struggle.
sacrifices. Those
I'm
7
literally out in
wallets,
the middle of
every
nowhere, but
single
I'm
one
almost
of
back to
them
the rig.
deposited 20
It's
million
still
DAI
early,
stables
so bro, I
into
gave
the
you admin
Spark
rights, so make sure you
protocol,
pin your
which
stuff,
works
please.
closely with the MakerDAO. So there's $140 million over there hanging out, and while everyone's complaining about bad trades and bad bad calls from certain owners of certain wallets, we're noticing that there's actually deep value plays that are hidden within the under the true intentions. So this group is basically just trying to discover as much as we can and try to go as in depth as possible. So we're looking at literally every possibility under the sun. And yeah, this is
You're like
the war.
detectives.
So welcome aboard, man.
Thank you. So you guys are like detectives. You're figuring out the mysteries of the pulse chain.
You can say that,
Yeah.
but we're diving into everything.
So what is the big secret play that we're not supposed to know about?
How autistic do you want to go?
Right? Like how deep you want to.
Yeah, it depends on how deep you want to go. I would say at the very moment, the very deep play that they don't want us to know that easier to understand would be that they're trying to copy values over from Ethereum to Pulsechain. Now, how they're doing that, it can get pretty schizophrenic. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, they're not copying the values. They're creating deep liquidity pockets between Ethereum, BSC, and over here. So
yeah, but at the end of the day, Richard's going to tell people that he copied the values because he won't claim responsibility for the actual value propositions that get brought over.
He put the money.
Yeah,
correct.
He'll be like, "Hey,
what are you talking about?
Tokens and they're worth
Copied
money."
value.
So.
Right.
No,
Well,
he's,
that was his
creating a
old.
meta-
That was the original
what we-
sales pitch. That's not a new idea.
Yeah. So we no. So we believe that he's going to be creating like a meta chain, like a meta privacy EVM chain with the privacy bridge between all 3 chains. How the Atropa ecosystem is protecting DAI with utilizing bots with the way that they scaled it up. So like the number 2 is the number 2 holder of DAI, and then there's another contract on top of that doubles that. And that doubles that all the way up to the top. So then it protects DAI in a way so DAI can't be flash loaned. So whenever they decide whenever it reaches the peg, or when they're trying to protect it on its way up, they can make sure that DAI can't be flash loaned or hurt against, because the bots would front run the other bots before the flash loan could even take effect. So Atropa is using this mechanic to literally protect DAI. And then on top of that, with MakerDAO literally giving up MakerDAO, they're giving up $1 billion of protocol to Spark Finance, so they can go create their own chain. Their own chain is a fork of the proof of work Ethereum. They'll have their own copies, but it's a proof of work, proof of stake hybrid chain that's going to be minting RAT WP DAI and WP BTC, WP USDC. So it's going to be a chain that's done through consensus that they'll be minting a deterministic value of WP DAI, WP USDC, and then sending that to a certain chain to then be validated. We believe that one chain for DAI would be Pulse because it's protected over here by the Atropa ecosystem, and essentially then they would be the minting press. We would be the reserve currency, because with the 22 billion, whenever it hits $1, we have the 22 billion DAI there already, so we wouldn't have to mint anymore for a little while till the next. Because whenever they first launched, and after that, they're allowing their version, arbitrage opportunity, the WP DAI itself.
Okay.
Will be able to fluctuate in value, so they can front run that and gain more.
I see where you guys
like
are
one or
going.
two.
Maker's going to become the bank of crypto under Pulse. Spark will move on to become the printing press of crypto, being able to mint stability coins to distribute through the network. And then from Pulse, we expand into the wider cryptoverse with at least 3 chain bridging, meta bridging opportunities where single-sided staking would then make sense. We would be the lenders. The rest of the chains would then become the customers.
Okay. And AJ from SparkSwap, he'll attest all this?
SparkSwap, no, I don't. SparkSwap is. I don't think we're still speculating that they're involved. We know that they were involved with SDAI really early on.
Why don't we just
they were
ask
putting
AJ
SDAI out.
if it's true and see what he says?
I would assume that they're not going to say anything until the Spark DAO either votes them in, or the Spark DAO is then created. Because right now the Spark DAO isn't up and running yet, so I don't think they can attest to anything, in my opinion. But EMP, like if you look on Spark, it stands for like empowering DAI. So I think EMP might have been something different over on BSC, but it seems like they needed a BSC aspect to this whole thing.
It's zero confirmation aside from some words that match up that SparkSwap is involved at all in what we've described here.
Correct.
Right. Okay. And most of this is based on PDAI pegging to $1, right? Like that's the main thesis here is PDAI will become $1.
Yes. I mean, that's not the main thesis. I mean, if the bridging and everything like that is taken into effect, then through social consensus alone, I'm sure the centralized exchanges would then sell it for $1 because DAI is $1, and then it should then peg or not.
Let me ask you guys this: Have you ever looked on like the Pulsechain browsers, any of the ones that work anyway, to see who the holders of PDAI are? See how many people who've never actually even been on Pulsechain have billions of dollars of PDAI?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
So, how many people do you think could dump the price of PDAI to 0 on any given day?
I don't think that. I just think that if they, I don't know if it's billions, but it's close. But I still think that those people were either understand the value proposition.
You think they're just good people, so they won't take the money, or like they're not part of the Pulsechain. They're just like.
Yes, they got free copies, and then they come over, and then they find out about it. I mean, we'd have to wait and see, or there's another plan. Yeah.
So there's another mystical plan that we don't know about.
No, I know. I'm saying
zero.
I just don't think they would dump it. I just don't think
it's a dollar coin, right? So you're not dumping it; you're just redeeming your dollar. So if I had a dollar coin that was based on that was maybe less known than others, and I could change it for a more known coin. So if I could trade all my PDAI for not PDAI, I think I would do that, and I think everybody in this room would do that too. The moment it hits $1, because why would you hold it past $1? It's a dollar coin. So you're gonna have by default you'll have 100%. 100% of people would redeem it for $1, but it won't take that. That's not how it works.
Not at all 100%. Like if I haven't heard like any worse speculation, it's that.
You wouldn't trade your dollar coin for $1. Are you holding it till it hits 1,000, sir?
Yeah, right. You want to GM real quick.
It's $1, so you're going to turn it in for $1, right? So when it hits $1, and there's guys with billions of dollars sitting like in their wallet on Ethereum,
why
you don't
do
think they're going to
people
come over
hold
and just
stable coins
dredge
at
that out?
all? Because they're worth $1. So you're saying that like once it hits
You- you
$1, it's just gonna dump because it's $1?
Oh yeah, 100%.
That doesn't make any sense either.
This makes it
I think it'll dump long before that, actually, like way before. But if it did hit $1, it would have 100% dump ratio.
Millions of PDI in their wallet, they're not necessarily needing the money. So the logic that they're just going to dump when it reaches $1 is kind of silly.
You think so?
Yeah, they don't know they have it.
Why
They're
else
not
would they be
thinking
holding
about
it?
When they find out they have it, they're going to take
Why
it.
would they dump it? They're already holding DAI. They're just going to be like, cool, my money doubled. Like, they're already holding stables.
That's a super sketchy Richard Hart scam chain pulse copies.
I'm sure it's Maker. I'm sure it's Maker. It's Aave. It's Compound. Some of those other. Those are probably the main holders of the DAI. So it actually benefits them all. So, do
By
you know
the
which
way,
ones they are or who they are?
To play devil's advocate, I'm just gonna say it. They are going to. So what's gonna happen when they do is it's obviously gonna go below $1 for a slight bit of time. Who knows how long? Right now, when there's a certain sales, it goes down for a certain time, but that's because it arbitrages to other pools. Soon, it will be a design to keep it at peg. Right now, it's not designed to keep it at peg. It's designed to go
what design is that?
$1 as possible.
Atropa.
How is it going to stay at a peg?
So there's around 139.
I've seen the graphs, guys. It doesn't work. Like you can have over collateralized stablecoins. I'm honestly, I find it interesting that everybody becomes so
dump it at
engaged.
$1, how do you believe it's gonna get to $1?
Well, I don't believe it's going to get anywhere close to $1.
Right. So your point is you're just trying to stir up shit.